Hello, my name's Claude Taylor and welcome to my how-to plumbing channel. To all my subscribers, thank you for your continued support. Your support is most appreciated. You can now find all the tools and materials that I'm using on these videos at Amazon. Just go to Amazon and type in how-to plumbing. And if you're new to this channel, I hope you enjoy the videos, and if you do, give it a thumbs up and become a subscriber. Thank you. With all that said, let's get started with the video. Alright, in this video here, what we're going to do is we're going to prefab, and prefab means making it up ahead of time so that it's all together and we can put it in one shot and everything's together. And what we're doing here is we're going to build a tub and shower valve. We're going to assemble one. Let's start off by taking a few measurements. And these measurements are going to be for the tub spout. And this one here, more than most likely 7 inches, is going to be for the tub spout. And the other one's going to be around 54 for the shower head itself, going up to the shower head. Now, you don't have to have a fancy cutter like this. I do quite a bit of cutting copper pipe, and this is a lot easier on the wrist. So this is why I am using this particular tool. This is a Milwaukee battery operated tool cutter. This is going to be the tub and shower valve of choice, and this is a Moen tub and shower valve, and this particular one is designed for Ubenor Pex pipes and fittings. The only part that we're going to have to use on here that we're not going to use any PEX pipe is going to be the riser going up to the shower head and the part going down to the tub spout. Those two pieces will have to be soldered on, and that's to give the shower valve some stability. Okay, before we go to assemble the new parts on the tub and shower valve, we're going to break it down first. This is the best way to do it before you start soldering pipe. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this cover off, and we're going to put this cover back on, because that cover makes it easy for the tile guy or drywaller to install the tile and make sure that the valve is sticking out properly. And again, that's going to go back on. And what we're going to do is remove all the components to this tub and shower valve, so that when we go to solder the pipe, we don't melt any of the washers or the cartridge inside of it, or do any damage. So we don't want to take a chance like that. So here we've removed the cartridge. And again, this is a Moen PosiTemp tub and shower valve. And the pins that I just pulled out now, those go to the stops. And these stops are designed to cut the water off at the valve rather than turn it off to the entire house. So if you ever need to replace the cartridge, you can just turn the water off right here once you remove the cover plate, and they just pull right out. And you can see why I'm concerned about soldering the pipe. That rubber washer there, we don't want to disfigure or melt it in any kind of way. One thing to keep in mind is that the if for any reason the hot water is not cut on, or the cold water, either one will not work without the other. The hot and the cold water has to be on at the same time so that this valve would operate. I have all my fittings laid out and ready to go. Now we're going to go on with the soldering part. And first of all, we're going to clean the fittings as clean as we can get them. Cleaning these fittings with a wire brush is very important. And these are what they call drop-eared 90s, or you can call them wing 90s. And of course, this is a copper half-inch cap. And the caps are going to be put on temporarily. I'm only going to need one cap, but I am doing two because I have another valve on the side that you're not seeing right now. And the cleaning brush that I'm using, you can flip it to one side, and you can also use the 3/4 inch side for 3/4 inch pipe. All this is 1/2 inch right now. And you can also clean the pipe. There's a section where you can clean the pipe with the same wire brush that I have here. Okay, taking a measurement here. That was 7 inches. And sometimes there's just a random piece that's cut. And when I talk about a random piece, just what it says, a random piece that's grabbed that look like it's going to fit wherever I need it, and I can always cut it later. Now, keep in mind here, I know a lot of you are probably watching this video right now and you're wondering, well, how come he doesn't have it set up on a stand or something like that to make this a little easier? Well, in actuality, when you're on job sites, sometimes you don't have that luxury. So you emphasize and you do what you can do at the time. And here's the flux that we're going to use. And on the flux, do not go light on the flux. It's not necessarily go too heavy, but don't go light on it. You want to make sure that these pipes and fittings are fluxed up on the inside very good, so that the lead-free solder that you're going to use is going to fuse the two metals together. And here's a little trick I like to do once I've cleaned and fluxed the fittings. And so I like to kind of egg shape the fitting itself and the pipe so that when I twist it, it's in place and doesn't fall out as I'm soldering the pipe. You can see how I'm squeezing down on the fittings. And always wipe off the excess flux that's hanging around. It makes for a nice clean solder connection. Other than that, down the line you're going to have some green stuff build up on the outside, which will deteriorate the pipe pretty quick. Now when you see me putting the pipe inside of the brass fitting itself, I'm going to egg shape the pipe, not the brass part, just only the pipe. And this will allow me enough to just squeeze it in there so it'll stay tight and snugged and won't rattle or move all over the place when I do go to solder or move the valve around as I'm soldering. See, that's nice and tight, and that's going to keep it stable. And again, we're going to wipe the excess flux off of here. And once again, I don't have anything right now that I can brace this tub and shower valve on and assemble it to solder it. So again, improvise, improvise, improvise. Okay, we have one valve here that is totally assembled. Now it will be ready to go ahead and solder up. And we have here is a small bottle of propane gas, and of course this is my torch setup that I'm going to use. I do have a bigger tank that uses acetylene, but I usually use that on much larger jobs. But a little small job like this is all I need, and this is all you're gonna need. And this particular one, it strikes and it lights itself, and you can just hold the red button down. You can see, and it will continue to run without you having to hold your hand on the trigger to keep the flame going. Now, if you're interested in learning on how to solder copper pipe, um, I have plenty of videos out there on how to solder copper pipe on YouTube. So please go ahead and check those um, videos out. I even have them where I'm installing copper pipe in a house. So I'm doing quite a bit of soldering on that particular video. And the sound has been cut off because I had some people come by and they wanted to talk and talk and talk, so I didn't realize that until I went back to edit it, and so I edit all the conversation out. And if you notice when I'm soldering, this is to give you an idea, the flame is always mostly aimed at the fitting itself, and the reason for that is the solder is going to follow the hottest point. So what it's doing now by holding it on the fitting is sucking the solder into the pipe and fitting. Okay, here I go. I'm going to make up my little homemade brace here to brace it in place so that I can go ahead and solder that cap on there. And again, you can see that I'm holding the heat on the copper fitting itself. And by holding it on the copper fitting, you can see that it just sucked the solder right up into a place to where it need to go. And once all the solder joints are soldered together, I'll take another rag and I'll clean it up and make it look a lot nicer and neater. Now that we have it all soldered up and cooled down, now it's time to start to put the valve back together. And of course, we're going to put our stops back in here. And it's important that when you put the stops back and the cartridge, that you put the retainer pins in. Please don't forget the retainer pins. And here are the retainer pins. And you notice when I put the look at the cartridge, you see the H and the C, the H on the hot, C on the right side for the cold, and of course we put the retainer pin back in. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm. Really? You don't have more than
And now we're going to put our cover plate back on. Not actually the cover plate, but the it's a template plate, so that when they go to put the towel in on the wall, that they will leave an opening enough so that we can put our cover plate, the trim work, actually over it. Again, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up and become a subscriber.